This presentation will be pretty short, but it is an introduction to 2D design. We're going to talk about a couple of the basics before you get into your elements and principles of art. And I also have heard that this is kind of a pep talk too, so I hope it inspires you guys to work hard and to ask yourself hard questions and to solve those problems visually. And of course, before we get into any class or any problem, we do have to go to the roots and define it. So what is design? What is design in general? And I like to define it in two ways. The first way is a verb. To design is to plan or define something like a building. And you can see architects and interior designers have done so in these images. Another method that is used is to design a deliberate sequence of images, like something you'd find in film or even a storyboard, and comic books and graphic novels today do this quite well. You can detect a sense of time passage in these images. In the verb sense, design is also used to create a functional object like you would find an industrial designer or a product designer or even a fashion designer using design in this way. And of course you can see by the image on the left that design comes from many different inspirations. And finally, the last verb definition of design could also be to organize disparate parts or a set of parts into something that is whole. And graphic designers use this to take elements of like letter forms and images and even motion graphics today, and they will put them all together to create one image or one poster or one infographic like you see here. And we can also look at design as a noun. So a design or a plan or a pattern, like a line of prints or a line of skincare. The packaging, of course, would be the design part, but you can tell in the image on the left that all of these textile designs are quite similar in color palette and theme. Another example is a design for a garden layout for all you HGTV fanatics out there. And of course, artists who work in fine arts also utilize design to arrange the elements of fine art, which we will get into in just a moment, the elements. But they utilize design principles to successfully map out their paintings and to get their ideas across. Many metaphors can be found and dug up thanks to design principles. And so to conclude our definition, the bottom line of all this is to say that design is intentional, it is deliberate. Artists and designers don't simply hope for the best while they work through their visual creations. This type of visual problem solving helps differentiate mature art and design from incomplete or even arbitrary works of art. So you could say then that design bridges the gap between artistic intention and compositional conclusion. Well, what does that mean? That's very complicated. What does that mean? Imagine you're asked to draw a picture of a house for your older sister's birthday gift or something. You could very well present her with a digital rendering, a simple drawing like the image on the right, and she might like it because it's something that you made. Think, though, how her reaction might differ if she uncovers the drawing on the left. Even without art or design knowledge, your sister would be able to detect your decisions in this drawing to differentiate patterns of shingles, the glass, and the siding. And she can also appreciate your observational skill that you utilize to present this very three-dimensional object, the house, in two-dimensional space. And she can see that you achieve that using tools like perspective and elements of line. And this is just a specific example of how design can actually save a work of art. And maybe that scenario sounds like something that could actually happen in your life. And so here's how you can work toward practicing and achieving these types of skills. Lots of ideas, having lots of ideas, I guess, is good for generating good ideas. And you may have heard this saying, which has a similar notion: your first idea is rarely the best idea. Powerful for me too. Artists and designers use their sketchbooks to hold their visual thinking. Sketchbooks are like a visual diary or a collection of thought maps. Images found in these sketchbooks, like the one you see here, it, these images allow insight into a creator's mind. This person in particular seeks to find the best light fixture design or for whatever project they're doing, and they experiment with different widths and lengths, some of which these may not even work if they were physically built, but you can definitely see that there's a thought process and an inspiration flow that's going on this particular page. Kind of curious to see which one they chose. And maybe you're asking yourself, well, why do I need these skills? Why do I need to take this class? And I can see this being answered in a couple of ways as well. Number one, making art is rewarding because it engages our senses, our emotions, and it allows us to feel accomplishment, achievement. You can use design principles that you'll learn in this class to deepen that journey and also to exercise your brain. And then on the other end of that scale, maybe your career or your future career demands that your ideas be understandable to the public, or at least to an audience that's beyond yourself. And instead of engaging your own personal emotions and your personal expression, the clients will provide specific goals for you in these types of scenarios. And then again, maybe you're not exactly sure why you've signed up for this class and you just think, well, I want to be creative. And that's a good place to be. I heard this quote from one of my artist friends who struggled to build a social media following or a social media presence during the COVID shutdown. And she said, creativity cannot exist without an audience. So, I mean, forget knowing if your idea is good or bad. What if it's unoriginal? What if it's unoriginal? I think that stings way more than the good or bad label. And so the point is, we want to develop a skill set of being able to explain ourselves well. And so in this class, you will practice explaining yourself visually. And if you can do this well, you'll be able to express a type of universal language that crosses all types of borders and barriers. You'll be able to make powerful imagery, and if you keep practicing this, your ideas will not only be good, they'll be remembered.